Hello. We're gonna give it some a few minutes for more people to. Okay, great.
Okay. All right, I'll just be here.
Awesome. Hello everyone. How's everyone doing? We're gonna get right into it now. I'm really excited for this. So welcome everyone. My name is Faye Bello. I am government relations officer at Oando PLC. I'm really excited to be doing this. I like to see myself as the unofficial Oando wellness head because wellness is something I'm really passionate about. And so I'm really excited to be here speaking with Amanda. So this month of October, Oando has decided to embark on this wellness series. So it's called the #Oando Wellness Series. And for the next 3 weeks, starting with this one, we're going to be talking about, burnouts, depression, trauma, all that good stuff. So I'm really excited to be doing this. I'm really looking forward to all the wonderful conversations we're going to have with the incredible Amanda, who I'll introduce in a second. Just some housekeeping. If you have, yes, girl. If you have any questions, we have the Q&A box for you. Please use that. You can also leave comments in the chat, and if you'd like to, ask questions, please raise your hands, and we will coordinate. We will coordinate. All right. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce the amazing Amanda. Amanda is a psychotherapist, and she's the founder of Indidi. Indidi is her private practice where she focuses on, people dealing with depression, anxiety, trauma, PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, and many other things. So we're really excited to have you here with us. Thank you so much for doing this. Today we're going to be talking about burnouts. And burnout for us is just one of the many things we're going to be talking about. I have some information on the topic here. So it's on the rise. It's another pandemic in the pandemic. We've done some research, and studies have shown that, millennials and Gen Z alike are 50%, upwards of 50% of millennials and Gen Z are going through burnouts, and everyone has there's been an upward spiral of these things since the pandemic hit. We have, Oando posted something yesterday that I looked at it and I was like, wow, signs you're getting closer to a burnout. If you're holding back from expressing what you really think or feel to avoid the discomfort of others, yikes. Betraying your emotional capacity and holding space for others, needing everything to be perfect and under control. This sounds like little things, but they're little things that add up to big things. And I'm just really excited to be speaking with Amanda on all these wonderful things. So Amanda, I'm going to give you the floor. Thank you so much for doing this. And yeah, like we said, if you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you want to raise your hand, please go right ahead. And over to you, Amanda.
Hi, how are you doing, Faye?
So
great,
good.
Great. Okay. So myself will get into the topic about burnout, or do you want to ask me some questions? And okay. So I'll just
push. You get into the topic and then ask questions after.
Okay, no problem. So hello to everyone who is watching this video now, and thank you so much for making up the time to be here. Whether you are on Zoom or you are on YouTube, you and I are going to be spending most of October together every Friday for the Oando Wellness Series. So get familiar, and like Faye said, do not hesitate to leave your questions in the question box. I always like to tell people when I have sessions that no question is a stupid question, no question is an ignorant question. Every single question you have to ask is very much welcome and very important, because you may be asking a question that somebody else is struggling to say, but the answers will be very helpful for them. So whatever questions you have to ask, please do not hesitate to ask, and I'll do my best to answer. And what I'm going to talk to you guys about today is burnout, to help you understand what burnout is, what the different types of burnout are, and how the environment you work in creates situations for burnout. So what are the things that cause staff members' company and the staff member can do to take care of themselves when you realize that they're burning out. So after this session is over, I encourage you to please share the link. I think it might be on YouTube, I'm not sure, but if a link is created after this,
Yes,
please share it with your friends, share it with your okay.
Yeah.
Share with your coworkers who are not able to make it today, because like Faye said, the burnout is on the rise. This month of October is Mental Health Month, but Mental Health Day is on the 10th of October. And I will be working with not just Oando, but a few other companies. And one thing that almost every company, their team member, their staff members have said, we want to talk about this particular thing, because I prefer when the people tell me what they want to hear about, so I can do something that's much more impactful and resonates with them. Almost everyone is asking for, how do I manage burnout? How do I deal with burnout? So it's not just you in Oando, it's you and people in many different companies. And the reason why this is happening is, first of all, we're coming out of a pandemic. A lot of companies are trying to make up for how much they've lost over the past year, even the past 2 years. There hasn't been a time for us to really recover from the pandemic. We may think of the pandemic as a time when we were staying at home, but even though we were staying at home, we're still doing things. Most of us were still working. Some of us were taking care of our families, and they were more present than they normally would be. Many of us had to deal with losing a family member, a loved one, or a friend, even just dealing with the change of our lifestyle entirely during that time. A lot of us had to navigate that period, and we didn't have any time to breathe and to, just take our time to get back to ourselves before life started all over again, and we had to go back on the grind and go back to the way things sort of were before the pandemic happened. So there was never really a break, and now that we're back into work and going to the office, we're now expected to give 100%, maybe even 120%, so we can be able to catch up with all the losses that the company made before. So if you're thinking that we've been at home, or like, why am I still feeling exhausted? I'm just letting you know that there was no time for you to recuperate. I'm too shocked and too surprised if you're having burnout, even if you're not having to go to the office, even if you're still working from home. Another thing that's caused a lot of burnout amongst team members of different companies that I've noticed is that even when they were working from home, there were no restrictions or boundaries around their work time. It was almost as if, because we're working from home, my boss expects me to be available on call 7 a.m., 9 p.m. They're throwing us into meetings at very odd hours, sending emails at very odd hours, and expecting us to show up. So people with the boundaries around your work time, because before you know that you have to drive to the office, get there at 8, and then after you drive, you get to the office, you leave at 5. You have a life after that. When you're at home, that line of this is part of that, most people were working overtime. Some people barely got enough time to rest. As soon as they wake up in the morning, they're opening their laptops to answer emails that were sent the night before, or even early that morning. So if you're working from home, or you spent a lot of time working from home during the pandemic period, don't think that, okay, because I was working from home, I was close to my bed, that means that I can't experience any burnout. More present than you need to, and not having enough time to recuperate. Okay, so now I'm just going to explain to you what exactly burnout is. Okay, in the simplest term possible. And if you have any questions around it, don't hesitate to ask me. Okay, and if you also notice my eye moving in this direction, it's because I have my notes on my laptop that I'm looking at as I'm talking to you. All right. So now, what exactly is burnout? So they described burnout as chronic stress. And when something is chronic, it means that it's continuous over a long period of time. If it's acute, it's a short-term thing. But if it's chronic, it's long-term. So it's chronic over again without any breaks, like I mentioned before.
Sorry, but your signal is a bit...
It's a bit wonky?
Yeah, a little bit wonky. And now we've come.
Can you hear me now?
It's glitching a bit, but let's give it some time.
Okay. All right, let me try and switch my internet to my data, my MiFi, because I was using my
I think it's
phone
fine
internet
now.
because that's usually faster. It's fine now?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, all right. Should I carry on? Okay. So, like I was saying before the internet issue, I would still try to connect to my MiFi. Maybe that would bring better network, but we'll just carry on. If there's any interruption, please let me know, okay? All right, so experience for a long period of time that leads to physical and emotional exhaustion. So it means that you're physically tired, which is those mornings when you try to get out of bed and you're just like, I just can't do it. Your leg feels tired, your head feels tired, your entire body feels tired. Emotional exhaustion. It's like a kind of weakness you feel on the inside where you don't have the energy to feel. You don't have the energy to connect. You don't have to be exhausted. Then there is cynicism that comes with it, which is just having a negative attitude towards your work. The work that you'd have enjoyed before, that used to bring you so much joy and so much happiness and a sense of fulfillment, you now become quite cynical and you're just like, oh my goodness, do I really like this job? Do I enjoy it? Why am I even here? What am I doing this for? What is my purpose? What is my meaning? Then following that is a detachment. Now you're losing interest in your work, you're becoming more cynical, you're physically tired. Next thing, you're trying to escape. You find yourself saying things like, I want to get away from here. I don't want to be here right now. I want to leave this space. I want to get away from this job. You may have loved the job before, but because you are burnt out, you're now realizing, you're now getting to a point where you're so stressed out, you're like, I don't want to be here anymore. Some people even get to the point where they start to think about quitting their job. And some people don't even give as much to their work like they normally would. So if you were the type of person that will show up emails on time, you will start to notice that you're slacking at your work. You're not giving it as much attention and as much affection like you normally would. Then following that feelings of ineffectiveness, which is you're not doing really well at your job, you're not ticking all the boxes that you normally would. If you even get a review, a performance review, you find out that your performance has dipped from the way it used to be before, and then you feel a sense of lack of accomplishment, that even if you're doing the job, you don't feel like you're really doing anything. So you start to say, oh, I don't think I'm doing enough, but I'm still so tired from doing too much. So if you're the person, if you realize that any of these things I mentioned, cynicism, physical and emotional exhaustion, feeling ineffective, lack of accomplishment, if you fit into that box, yeah, you are burning out. So the symptoms of fatigue, well, pretty much you're tired, overwhelmed, you're bored, and at the same time not interested, can lead into mental illnesses developing. So you can, if burnout is not treated as soon as possible, it may lead you to now developing depression or even anxiety or even a stress-triggered sort of psychotic disorder, or some people end up having seizures because they are so overwhelmed and then their physical body can handle it. Then you either fall sick and then you think that you're falling sick because of malaria. You keep treating malaria, but you're not getting any better. Chances are that you are burnt out. So I just want to check in to know if you guys are with me before I go into the next area. Do you have any questions at all? Faye, are you good? Because I can see you.
Yeah, good. No, you're preaching. You're actually
like you're agreeing with me.
It's amazing. I'm really happy to be here, honestly. So
yeah,
yeah, it's going great. You go ahead.
Okay. So I want to talk to you about the 3 subtypes of burnout. And that's like, what I mean by that is that people can experience burnout as a result of different factors. So there are different types, and that it has to do more with the person that they are. So according to the researchers Montero and Garcia, they came up with 3 different subtypes of burnout. The first one is called frenetic. So I just want you to pay attention to know which type of burnout do you think you fit into based on the position of your work, the role you perform, and how you're feeling presently. So for subtype of frenetic, this is when you put a lot of time and energy into your work, that you're so dedicated to achieve the best and even achieve all your personal ambition. But then because of that, you are not taking care of yourself. you're not taking care of you're not building relationships, you're not building friendships. Those are the people that we call workaholics. So they're not taking care of their personal life. They're not taking time off. When you tell them to go and leave, they're the ones that say, okay, I'll postpone it until they wouldn't go and leave. At some point, it even takes HR begging them to go and leave, to take a break from work. But because they have such, their self-esteem or their self-worth or their meaning in life is attached to how much they can accomplish in life, in their work, they don't give their personal lives any attention at all. And the thing about human beings is that you can't spend all of your days working.
Amanda, we just got some feedback that the signal is really bad and some people are really struggling to hear. Should we give you some time?
All right, let me just switch over to my Wi-Fi and see
if that's better. Because this is excellent and we don't want anyone to miss out on any of it. So we need to make sure everyone can hear.
Okay, is this better? I can count from like 1 to 10, and
yes,
is this a feedback in terms of the sound or feedback in terms
this is actually better. This looks much better. But let me check in. Yeah, I think this is better. So let's go. You were giving us the 3 types of burnouts, and you said the first one was
okay. So all right. So now the first one is called the frenetic. That's for people who are workaholics and attach a lot of self-importance to their job, that they give so much to their job and then they don't take care of their personal life. So their friendships start to suffer, their family relationships start to suffer. Even they would normally be the kind of people to do their nails to make sure that they are fine. You now find that like in 2-3 weeks, they haven't gone to the nail salon. Their hair is looking disheveled, but that doesn't matter as long as they are meeting their deadlines. So these people spend so much time at their work that they don't pay any attention to their personal life. And because of that, they don't get any proper self-care. They don't get any breaks from work. They don't have moments where they sit down and not do anything. And even when they even think about sitting down and doing nothing, they start to feel a sense of guilt, like, oh my goodness, I have emails to respond to, I have this to do, I have this to do, I can't be here, I'm wasting time, sleep is for the weak. I need to get on my A game and do what I need to do. So those people are people who are under the type of frenetic burnout. Now there is no second type of burnout is burnout that comes on from people who are under challenge. So an under challenge type of burnout is where you lack the motivation and you lack the interest in your job. Like you have no motivation to do the job you're doing. You have no interest to do it. So because of that, you don't apply yourself as much as you should. You only just do the basic stuff. So I think that, not to throw shade, but Nigerian civil service workers fit into this kind of burnout. They do the barest minimum, but then work is so boring for them. It's like a routine. I wake up in the morning, I go to the office, I pick this paper, I feel this, I do this, I do that. So they're not just enjoying the work. And the boredom itself and the boring routine makes them get burnt out. Because as much as you can burn out from being overstimulated, you can also get burnt out from being understimulated. And not even just that, a lack of acknowledgement for what they're doing, even that little effort that they're putting in, nobody's paying them properly, nobody's saying well done for your job, nothing would cause them to even want to leave the employment that they're in. Then the third type of burnout is called worn out. That's WORN -OUT, worn out. So this is when a person is just tired. They're just tired. They're exhausted. They've given everything that they have to give, and they are extremely exhausted. Physically, emotionally, psychologically, mentally, spiritually, they are done. Because they are so tired, they start to disregard their responsibilities. You call them, they won't answer. You send emails, they won't do anything. They just neglect their duties completely. And the people that are in this place, they tend to get here because, number one, people don't recognize the work that they do. And all they keep doing is more and more and more and more jobs. And then they don't have that much power to be able to dictate how they want to show up at work. Maybe they can't show up early in the morning, but then they have to be there because their boss says you need to be there. And then maybe they can't send emails because there's an issue they're having, but then nobody's helping them to solve it. So because they are not being recognized, they're not being acknowledged, they're not being respected, and then they're still being expected to give 110%, they do that over and over again, and they become super exhausted, that they become burnt out. So you can be burnt out from doing too much at work, from doing too little at work, work and from ignoring your own category. When they're burnt out, it's like, what exactly is causing your burnout? Is it that you're working too much? Are you working too little? Or have you just ignored your personal life, that there is no balance between your personal and then your professional? So you guys should just take some time and think about it, which is to know what type of the burnout that you fit into. And please leave your comments in the chat box, because I definitely want to hear what people have to say. Which category do you fit into? Which of these types of burnout resonates with you? Which one do you think connects with the experience you're having right now in your workplace? Okay, Faye, do you have something to share?
No, I just want to encourage people that this is a safe space. Let's have this conversation, because I'm here with a small team and we're all like, someone left a comment saying, Toyin left a comment saying she feels dragged by this conversation. And honestly, I'm sure there are many other people that feel the same way. So I'm just happy we're having these conversations, because I mean, I've always seen burnout as being coming from being overstimulated. I've never seen it from, feeling bored. I didn't think that could lead to burnout. So that's really interesting to see. So I'm actually just really excited. Should we start asking some? Okay, you can carry on, and then I have some questions here to start the conversation going, and then when you're done, we can. So I'll give you back.
Go on. Okay. So let me quickly run through some of the symptoms of burnout, so you can look into yourself. And is it possible to be all three: overworked, not appreciated, and not doing enough of what you actually like? Yes, it's very possible. It is very, very possible. I always say is that in Nigeria, they are overworked, underpaid, underappreciated. They are doing much more than what they were hired for. Their bosses are not appreciating them for the effort that they're putting into, because people don't recognize that simply saying to someone, well done, you're doing a great job, can actually help boost their motivation at work. They just keep hampering on them. You're not doing enough. You're only just pointing out their mistakes, and then they're not paid enough. So with the economy becoming harder, their salaries are not increasing. And that's fair, because, I mean, it's a company. How much can they really generate? But what if you can't give your staff members as much money that they need to survive? What other things are you doing to allow them space to gain income? So are you now taking up all of their time, all of their energy, that they don't have the time to focus on something else? And then they're not doing anything else to bring money, and they're only focusing on your job, and you're not paying them enough. So Media Girl, it's very, very possible to have all three. Fabian says, I'm the frenetic kind of burnout. Fabian, don't worry. With a little bit of therapy, we can help you figure out how to balance your personal life with your professional life. And one thing I'll tell you is that boundaries are very important. And not just the boundaries you give to others, but the boundaries you set up. I'm going to go and have drinks with my friends. Boma says, what is the difference between being stressed out and being burnt out? So burnout but it is stress that you have been experiencing continuously over a long period of time. So you can still identify it as stress, but when you start to get for 1 year, and I'm going to now go over to the symptoms of burnout, so that you can be able to differentiate between just temporary stress that you can rest and get out of.
Amanda, I feel like the internet burnout back. Okay, so the internet has started to act up again. Again. Internet, let's have this conversation now. Please, we need it. Come on.
Nigeria.
Nigeria, let us have this conversation. Oh my goodness. But yeah, how's everyone feeling about what we've
Okay, how about this?
Ooh, can you count to 10 like you did the last time?
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Lost you after 3.
4, 5, 6, 10.
Oh.
No?
No.
Okay, let's
say some prayers for the internet.
Hello? 10,
Right, 10.
9,
No.
8, 4, 3, 2, 1. Any better?
It's slightly better. Let's see. Let's just go ahead and see and hope and pray for the best.
Okay. Okay. So I was going to talk about the symptoms of burnout just to help Boma understand what the difference is between just temporary stress and being burnt out. So one thing about, sorry, okay. Okay, so some of the symptoms of burnout, first thing to look at is fatigue and sleep issues. So with fatigue, it is being tired consistently, even though you rest, even though you go to bed and wake up, you're waking up tired. And even by the time you get to the office, before you even start work, you are already tired. So if you're feeling consistently tired in the morning before you start work, and then chances are that you might be burning out. Another thing to look out for is, do you feel a lot happier and a lot less tired when you leave the office than when you are in the office? If your mood feels better, you feel lighter, even like on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you feel a lot better. But then when Sunday evening reaches or Monday morning is coming, you start to feel exhausted, you start to feel sad, you start to feel miserable. Chances are that you might be burning out and that you might also not be happy with the place you're working at. The second thing is to look at your sleep. Are you getting enough sleep? Are you spending a lot of time awake and struggling to go to bed? Insomnia, if 2 a.m. or 4 a.m. and waking up at 7 in the morning to get to work at 8 and then getting into 4 to 6, and you're just getting 4 to 6 hours of sleep, not 7 to 9. That's another sign. So forgetfulness and trouble with concentrating. Sometimes you might be distracted. Someone is asking you for something, you're trying to do this. Yes, it's normal to be forgetful. I forgot this here, or I'm sorry, I'm not able to focus because I have to do this here. But if it's something that keeps happening over and over and over and over again, where you're consistently forgetting things, you're not able to remember where you put something, or if you even sent an email before, or you're struggling to concentrate, you're sitting down in front of your laptop, you might be burning out. And the lack of sleep will also make this symptom even worse, because your sleep helps with your memory and helps with your mood.
Sorry, Amanda, the
and helps.
signal has sort of started again. Do you want to try and switch devices?
Okay, let me switch again.
No, like, do you want to
All
use
right,
your
1
phone
second.
and not your laptop? Hello? Oh my goodness. Have we lost you completely?
Hello?
Hi. I was asking if you
Hello?
wanted to use your phone and not your
Can you,
laptop.
do you want me to, I should use my phone, but then I wouldn't
Yeah.
have the landscape view.
That's fine. That's fine.
That's okay.
It's
All
okay.
right, let me, okay,
We'll just
let me
give us some
just
time to
switch.
switch our phone. But in the meantime, let's just see. Does anyone have any? Let's see what's in the chat. So, yeah, how's everyone feeling about what she said so far? I mean, for me, there's a lot of rema. There's a lot of revelation here, you know. On YouTube, we're seeing Dr. Afro Soul Brother says all three. Ijiro is saying that it's nice knowing that being understimulated can also lead to burnout. Yeah, definitely. I feel that as well. I didn't know that that was actually a thing, so it's just really, I'm just really happy to be having this conversation. I feel like it's so important.
Yeah.
This is something that it just flies in the, you don't realize how little things really do become big things, and it's yeah. How's it going? Are you going to change your phone, or do you
Yeah.
want to keep using your laptop?
I'm about to change my phone to my phone, but how is the laptop sounding now? Is it good? Is the network any better?
It's actually sounding better. What have you done?
It is?
It is. But I also want us to try the phone because I feel the phone might just be best. So we
Okay,
don't.
all right, so let me
Yeah.
get from here now. Okay. That was loud.
But do you think like it's 10 times better?
This is better?
Much better, right? Turn on your video and then yes. Wow. Okay, great. We're good now.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna continue with the phone then. That's okay. Okay. All right. So now I was talking about the different symptoms of burnout, and you were reading out some people's statements from YouTube. Do we have any more comments? And oh yeah, we have a question here actually from an anonymous attendee. The person says, why would not being stimulated and boredom lead to burnout? And how do you identify that it is burnout? So for the identification, you can look at the symptoms that I'm currently reading out. I'll go back to them now. Judith is also asking, what are the signs of burnout? I would read them out to you now, but let me just answer the question about why is it that understimulation and boredom will cause burnout? So imagine this, every day you wake up, you get on a bus, you stay in traffic for hours, you go into the office, you sit down and you do absolutely nothing. And if you have to even do anything, it's probably just to sign a couple of files, reply to a few emails, and before you know it, by 2 o'clock, you go for lunch. You have the same lunch with your friends. You come back to the office at 3. You sit down, reply 1 or 2 emails, and then you do nothing for the rest of the day. 5 p.m. goes, you go back home. You do the same thing Tuesday, you do the same thing Wednesday, you do the same thing Thursday, you do the same thing Friday. You're going to be bored. And you're bored, and you're also getting burnt out because you are expending a lot of your energy to do something that you don't like. You're spending your time, you're spending your energy, you're spending your efforts to show up at a work, at a job that you don't enjoy, and that is not giving you the right kind of stimulation. As much as human beings want to have times to relax, they always want to have times where they are doing things that make them happy, things that make them feel fulfilled, things that make them feel like they are contributing, or that they're contributing to the community or the society or the job that they're doing. Human beings want meaning, and they look at their jobs and their profession to give them meaning. So if you're going to work every day and doing something that doesn't fulfill you or something that doesn't make you feel happy, you're going to feel exhausted, and you're going to feel emotionally exhausted. And more often than not, people who work in these places and have such jobs that are routine and boring, they don't tend to be appreciated enough. They don't tend to be acknowledged enough. People tend to give more acknowledgement to the staff that they know is doing most of the job, or the people at the higher level positions. But to those who are not doing as much work and are just doing routine jobs, people don't give them as much acknowledgement. They don't give them as much respect. It's very possible for a policeman to get burnt out. It is very possible for your LASMA official to get burnt out. It's very possible for your security guard to get burnt out because they show up at work every day to do something that is understimulating for them. Probably they're thinking about, if I had this time I'm using to be standing here doing absolutely nothing, I can be using to be hustling somewhere, making money somewhere, doing something else. But every day I have to show up here. That stresses them out. So stress is not always from doing too much. Sometimes it's doing too little or not enough of the right thing. That's what gets you stressed out. And it can be exhausting, and it can be sad. And that sadness can make you so miserable that you become depressed. So it's very possible for people to get burnt out from doing too much and also doing much, much less than what they should be doing. So I hope that answers your question. So I'm going to go over now to talk about the symptoms, so that, like people said, what are the signs that you're getting burnt out? The first 2 that I mentioned before were persistent tiredness. You wake up tired. Before you get to work, you're already tired. By the time you leave work, you're already tired. That's tired. And I said you should pay attention to if your energy levels change when you leave the office. If you're happier, more alive when work has closed for the day, and the idea of going to work the next day or even Sunday evening makes you feel miserable. The second symptom is sleep issues. People who have burnout struggle with insomnia and find it very difficult to sleep. So if you're one of those people who is getting 4 to 6 hours of sleep and you think that that's great, you're not doing well at all. That's not good for your body at all in any way. You need to be getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep every day.
The third symptom is repeated periods of forgetfulness and intense trouble with concentrating. You have trouble with focusing at work, you're looking at the numbers, but it's just not making sense. You can't pay attention to what you're doing. And then you start to make little mistakes that you have been able to identify in the past. You start making those mistakes. And when your supervisor or your team lead or your colleague complains about it, you're asking yourself, like, how could I have made such a mistake? Like, this doesn't even make any sense. Why am I making such simple mistakes like this? It's just not adding up. Yeah. Then another symptom to look out for is your appetite. I've noticed that whenever people are burnt out, they tend to go more for comfort food than healthy food. So you find them eating more rice, more swallow, more eba, and they will fill their plates with food because they're trying to feel good. Nothing else is making them feel good. Their job isn't making them feel good. Their personal life is probably suffering because of how much they are miserable from their work. They are not happy about what they're doing. So they're trying to find comfort somewhere else. And what they do is food. So if you have a company that offers you canteen food, free of charge lunch, those are the people that you notice to always pile their plate up. And by the time they eat more than they should, they will go to the office and they'll sleep up at their desk. So they wouldn't be doing their job. Then the next thing is they have weight issues. They are gaining weight at a drastic rate and losing weight at a drastic rate. So you start noticing, I'm not trying to lose weight, I'm not on any diet, I'm not doing anything, but then my weight is just dropping. And then you go to the hospital and you do tests, and the doctor will tell you that you can't see anything wrong with you. You can't find any symptoms. We don't know what's going on, but you are still losing weight. Some people are on the opposite end. They are not eating too much. They will even tell you that I don't need to eat, but they are gaining weight. And they probably even say, okay, well, let me do that once in a while, exercise to try to control my weight, but nothing seems to work. So they will go to the hospital, they will do a scan for this, they will do blood tests, and results will come out the same way. And it turns out that there is nothing wrong with their physical body. You are stressed out and you are getting burnt out. Now, when burnout is not treated in the early stages, it can then lead to you developing an anxiety disorder or depression. And before you even get to these mental illnesses, the clinical diagnosis for them, you may be experiencing symptoms of anxiety and depression. So you're persistently sad, you're persistently tired, you're persistently feeling a sense of hopelessness and helplessness towards life. You probably start to have suicidal thoughts as a way of escaping. Sometimes you'd even think to yourself that, oh my goodness, I think the best thing for me to do is just to shut down my phone, my laptop, and just disappear. I'll get on a train, go to a different city, nobody will be able to find me, nobody will know where I am, nothing. You just want to escape. And you start to feel anxious. The moment you have to get to work, your heart starts to race. You feel like you can't breathe. You feel like your hands are shaking, you get clammy. Sometimes you probably have panic attacks where you feel like everything is closing up on you because you have to go to the office. You may even find yourself crying when you get to the office. Like as soon as you drive into the car park, you just stop your car for a few minutes and then you just cry. You cry for like 20, 30 minutes and you'll be asking yourself, you don't know what's making you sad, but you're just sad. And you feel so tired and so exhausted, like you just want to give up on everything and just go away. You're not sleeping well, you're not eating well, you're just not doing well. You are struggling with burnout, which is chronic stress that has stayed in the system for longer than it should. All right. Does anyone have any questions so far? I have about 15 minutes, so I want to just give over to
Amanda, you're blowing my mind. Personally, someone has asked in the question and answer, is it healthy to look to your job for meaning?
It's okay to look to your job for meaning. There's nothing wrong with looking to your job for meaning, because in the end, when you try to do something that is meaningful, it is benefiting not just yourself, but people outside of you. And in the end, it's going to be a job. Like my job, for example, I love to help people. I want people to live their best lives and to be aware of the things that probably make their life stressful. And from having that purpose, I've turned it into a job. So there's nothing wrong with looking for meaning in your job. But then you also have to take note of the fact that something that brings you joy, when done too much, without balance, without care for self, can become the source of your misery. So even the job I do as a therapist, I can get burnt out. Spending such a long period of time listening to people's problems, managing the practice, dealing with staff. If I keep doing it for a long period of time, I get burnt out, which is why at the practice, I make sure that all the therapists have a limited number of sessions they can have in a week, and that for about 2-3 days, we all go off not doing therapy at all. Because I noticed when I started my practice earlier, when I do therapy over and over and over again, by the end of the month, I'm so tired that when my clients are telling me something that's going on with them, I feel disconnected from them. So when I realize, okay, when I take a break from therapy for about a week and I come back, I feel refreshed. I feel ready to like go into it and give the best shot that I have. So it is okay to look at your job for meaning, but just because something is good for you does not mean you have to overindulge. It can become a negative thing. And that's why you have people that have that frenetic type of burnout where they give too much to their job and very little for themselves, and then they get burnt out. So I think there's another question.
We have a few questions, and there's some on YouTube that I'll read out as well.
Okay, so you can go ahead and read it out.
Okay, so on YouTube, someone said, I thought shutting down, turning off my phone and laptop was a way of coping and not a symptom. Ooh, that's deep. Someone said she thought it was a way of coping and not a symptom. Amanda, I've lost you. Oh, okay, you're back. I thought so too, to be honest.
I'm here, yeah.
So yeah, what do you have to say about
And it's
that?
true, honestly. I think that it can be both a symptom and also a way of coping. Shut down your laptop, close it, work no dey finish. Even after you die, there'll be work. Even after you're promoted from that position, there'll be work. Even after you reply all those emails, there will be work. So shut down your laptop. That you having that urge to turn off your phone and shut down your laptop is like your mind telling you what you need to do to help yourself get better. So do it and do it often. Once it's 5 o'clock, set the time for yourself. Set your tasks that you want to achieve. We'll get more into it when we're talking about treatment. But then take out time for yourself. Shut down your laptop once it's 5 o'clock, once it's 8 o'clock. Anybody that wants to reach you after that time, they can reach you the next day. Whenever clients call me, I always tell them, I'm sorry, this is family time. I can't do client work. I can't send us an email and we'll definitely get in touch with you, except it is an emergency. On those situations at hand, that I know what to do. But on a normal day, if you're asking me, oh, Amanda, I want to, no. I'm sorry, after 5 o'clock is family time, it's personal time. I'm not doing any of that. So do shut down your laptop and turn off your phone and take out time to just be by yourself and sometimes don't even do anything. Yeah. Is there any other question on YouTube?
We have a question here. That says, how do we cope with this burnout when we can't find a job that satisfies you, but you have bills to pay? Ooh.
Yeah. Yes, that is actually the space where a lot of people are presently. So the first thing I'd ask you to do is sit with yourself and ask yourself this question. In the job that I am doing, the role that I'm currently in, how much control do I have over my position? Can I tell myself when to start? Can I tell myself when to stop work? Can I tell myself what emails to reply or not? The amount of control and power that a CEO has is different from the amount of control and power that a regular staff, like a receptionist would have, or just a manager would have. So you need to first of all gauge, how much control do I have over my job? When you're aware of what control you have, you can then use it to your advantage. So let's just go with like the barest minimum. What you can do is that if you don't have that much control, you can at least say that once it's 5 o'clock or 8 o'clock, nobody will be able to reach me anymore. I'm not going to pick up any calls after this time. I'm not going to answer any messages like this. I used to work at Stanbic IBTC, and there was a staff member we had that every time, any small thing that happens, that's the person they call. Any small thing, if the department he's the person that they call. So do you know what he did? His office line, he got 2 phones, one phone for personal, one phone for office. That's the line that everybody can reach him. Friday, that phone is off. Nobody can, as soon as it's Friday, 5 o'clock, office line is off. What's his email? He's not answering anybody. Monday morning, as soon as you call Monday morning, 7 o'clock, he'll be there to answer you. So it can be a difficult thing to do, especially like with some jobs, like you need to be present for emergency situations, but you can set such a limit for yourself where you don't answer calls on Sundays, you don't answer calls maybe on Saturdays, you don't answer calls after 5 o'clock. You have to set those boundaries. Set those boundaries, and trust me, things will fall into place. Your boss will be upset about it in the beginning. They will be frustrated, but trust me, the more persistently you do it, and you pair it with doing a good job when you show up. So it's not that you are slacking at work and then they can't reach you on the weekend for a mess that you have created because you are slacking at work. That one is different. When you're at work, show up at work and do what you're supposed to do. When you're going off, then you can go off and nobody will be able to reach you. It is justified in that way. Don't now not do your work when you're supposed to be at work, and then you are now saying, I want to take time off on Friday, I'm off my phone, nobody can reach me. Now that's just you being selfish.
Yeah,
so show up at work and do the best you can at work. And then when it's time to go home, you're going home and you're turning off your phone and you're doing it guilt-free because you know that when you were at work, you gave 110%. And if in case of an emergency, let there just be one person who can access that other line of yours in the office, and that person can't distribute it to anybody else. Let's say it's someone that you can trust. That person shouldn't give anybody else your phone number. So if there's an emergency, they then know that, okay, we can reach this person to try and get in touch with him. But the moment that number cast, delete it, can't get used to it.
Oh, we have to go into the tips to help us prevent burnout and how to roll back the effects, because people have been asking, and I personally I need to know.
Okay, so now the first thing is to manage and treat burnouts, the first person I'm going to talk to are team managers, CEOs, founders, supervisors, because your staff only has as much control over their position as they do. You need to create a culture that allows them breaks from work at 5. It is difficult to do. It's a difficult adjustment, but you have to do it. And a lot of times, what I realize is that because the head of the department is an anxious person, let's do this, let's get this done, let's do this one here, oh my God, this email, blah, blah, blah. They carry all that pressure and put it on their staff members. So you may have a staff member who was like very cool and calm and, just chilling, and they do their work, they go, because they have a manager that's always on edge, a manager that's always anxious, a manager that's always stressed out. Even when they don't need to be stressed out, they'll be creating problems because they need a problem to solve so they can feel like they're doing their job. So they stress themselves out and stress their team members out. Because that happens, a team member starts to get stressed out. So what I'd say, first of all, to supervisors and to team leads and to CEOs is calm down. Calm down. Relax. Just because your work isn't going the way you want it to, it's not the end of the world. People can take breaks. You can take a break and everything will be fine. It's okay to delegate. Your team members will make mistakes, but you wouldn't know how to trust them if you don't allow them any kind of responsibility. Calm down, okay? Relax, farabale, cool down, drink cold water. Don't be too anxious. Go for therapy. Try and figure out why you're always so anxious. Is your self-worth attached to accomplishment? You need to talk through that. The second thing is give them more control over their daily life. Let them be able to, especially when they're working from home, let them be able to set when they start work and when they end and when they go on breaks. And when they give you those times, respect it. Don't be sending them emails at 6 p.m. Even if you do, let them know that they can reply to this in the morning. Because sometimes you might send them an email and not expect a reply immediately, but because your staff member wants to be on top and perform well and let you know that they're diligent, they would reply anyway. So let them know in your email. You don't have to reply. Please reply when you can. I want to know when so it's happening. But if you know you don't have that kind of self-control to put it in the email, just don't email them at all. It's better that way. Let everything wait till Monday. It's fine. It can wait. Trust me, it can wait. If you think you'll forget, put it in your reminder. A second thing to do is to help your staff notice when they are getting burnt out, the early signs. Be attentive to it, not just with the supervisors, but even you as a person. The moment you start to feel like you're unhappy at work, I don't like the job I'm doing, I don't feel fulfilled, I feel so tired, exhausted, I want to escape. The moment you start talking to yourself this way, those are the early signs of burnout. And when you start to detect the early signs of burnout, or you are in a place where you are already burnt out, you need to start doing the very next important step, which is look for breaks and leaves. Start applying for leave. Plan ahead. If you know you can't get leave this month of September, October, try and get leave in December. Plan for leave in the future. You'd be so grateful because essentially when you're burnt out, what your body needs the most at that time is rest. It's not for you to go and start investing time inside your second job, because when people get break off of their work at Oando, they'll now say, now that I have free time, let me go and start learning how to do this workshop. Let me go and do this training. That's not what you're supposed to do. Because if you spend your leave break chasing responsibilities that you were not able to achieve because you were working a 9 to 5, you're going to finish that leave break and you're going to be tired and you're going to burn out again. So it is important that when you get on leave, you plan your leave day. When you get a break, even if it's just 2 days, plan it. What are some urgent things I need to do, and when am I going to rest? So you can say, first day, I'm going to rest. Second day, I'm also going to rest. But once it is like 2 o'clock, then I can start then doing other things I want to do. But you need to have a day when you do absolutely nothing. Not even cleaning the house. Don't do laundry. Don't be responsible. Just stay in your bed and just sleep. That is the most important thing that your body needs during the period to get over a burnout. It isn't for you to do more stuff. It is for you to do nothing. Which is why whenever people go on breaks from burnout, I always encourage them, even when they quit their jobs, don't quit a job and then go into the next one the next day. No. Quit a job. Give yourself a break for about a month before you start another job. If you can even get 2 weeks, do it. But use those 2 weeks or that month to do nothing. Don't do anything. Nothing at all. Doing nothing is good for your mental health. Doing nothing is good for your emotional health. Doing nothing is good for your physical health. Your body needs time to rest. So rest. Another thing that you can do after you're done resting, some little things you can do to help yourself during the day is, when you wake up in the morning, don't rush straight to start pressing your phone. Take a moment to just lie down, breathe, and just admit that, first of all, I'm awake. And say some nice positive things to yourself about your day, your job, what you're going to do. Plan something during your day, just something little that would give you a bit of joy, something to look forward to. Maybe it's like 30 minutes of watching your favorite show, or maybe it's just 30 minutes of doing absolutely nothing. When you have that 1 hour break in the office, instead of spending it eating, looking at your phone, scrolling through Instagram, you can take your food outside to somewhere quiet. Boma says African parents would die if you say you're doing nothing. Let them pass out.
Boma is speaking everybody's heart right now. Boma said African parents and employees would die.
You need to do that. I think that is the greatest service that our parents ever gave us, which is that idea that we need to constantly be doing something. You don't have to be doing something all the time. It's okay to do nothing. It's okay to just sit down outside your house and do absolutely nothing. Just be watching people as they're going left and right. It is fine.
I think even now that we brought up African parents, I feel like it's important you can get burnt out from your family members, right? You can get burnt out from your family responsibilities.
Yep. Which is why I said, don't do anything. Don't do anything.
Well, if parents, you have to do something.
You don't. Especially if you're above the age of 25, you're paying rent, you have a job, you don't have to do anything. You don't. If you have responsibilities towards your family members, you can fulfill those responsibilities, but not in a way that it drains you. Because if you die, they'll find somebody else or find another way to cope. Everybody will survive. So if you decide to step back a bit from some of your responsibilities because you're giving too much, it's okay. It's okay. You don't have to overdo. Just do the best you can, and that's enough. And if your family members are the kind of people that will strip you, create some distance. Because if a person wants something, they should just ask directly. If you say no, let your no be your no. Don't let it not be no. Wow, you're telling me no. I can't believe this. After I carried you for 9 months, paid your school fees, go where. If they're guilt tripping you, create some distance. The moment they start telling you these things, just let them know clearly, I'm sorry, I would not tolerate being guilt tripped into doing something that I've clearly told you I cannot do. Off your phone. Go and do what you want to do. They will be fine. Sometimes it seems like it's brutal dealing with African parents, but the truth is that if you want sanity and peace of mind, you need to be firm. If not, they're going to squeeze you, they're going to bend you, and every drop of anything you can give, they will take it. And they will take your soul, your joy, your happiness, and squeeze it out. So your boundaries are very, very important. So someone said something, I think it was Maggie that says, if she, anxiety will kill me if I do nothing. Do you know what I did? Something that helps me a lot. Whenever I sit down, I start to think about, well, I have this email, I have that email. I ration my time. I told myself, Amanda, work starts at 9 a.m. Work ends at 5 p.m. If I decide to rest after 5 p.m. and work is coming to my head, what I tell myself is, don't worry. When it's time for work at 9 a.m. tomorrow, I will work. So I'm not avoiding the work. I'm just paying attention to what is important right now. If I can prioritize work, I can also prioritize rest. So help yourself by telling yourself, reassuring yourself about the importance of rest. So saying things like, okay, I'm not going to deal with it right now. This is the time for rest. 9 a.m. tomorrow, I will deal with it. If you have a time, because for me, sometimes I have to work late in the night because I have urgent things I need to get out. So I tell myself, okay, I'm going to stop working at 6 p.m. and I'm just going to give myself from 11 to 11:30 to just to do any work or attend to any last minute emails. So if during that period of 7 and 11, something is coming to my mind and saying, well, Amanda, you have this to do. I just remind myself, don't worry, I have a work time scheduled for 11 o'clock. I would answer the email during that time. Right now, what I need to do is rest. So Nenny, change the way you talk to yourself. Don't allow those anxious voice fester. Because the thing about anxious thoughts is that if you leave them, they will take you down a deep rabbit hole. So the moment you start to hear that voice, you should be, just stop it. No, I will do this so at so time. You can even help yourself by just writing out a task list of all the things that your mind's telling you, okay, this is what I need to do, this is what I need to do, this is what I need to do, this is what I need to do. Pour everything out, and then, okay, dedicate it. Tomorrow morning, these are the first 3 things I will do, and these are the first 4 things I'll do. But right now, I've already done the best I can, and I'm just going to focus on just this for now. So yes, change the way you talk to yourself. Yeah. Another thing that you can do to help yourself with burnout, because I know my time is already up, is let there be.
Give it 10 more minutes.
Okay.
So you have 10 minutes.
So in the company itself or the department or amongst your team, let there be a clear path for addressing burnout. Let it not just be something that happens to one person. Recognize that this is something that happens in a workspace. It's just like if you have malaria, you know what to do. People will get burnt out. But when they get burnt out, what do? How do they get help? So let there be steps for them to be able to get care and to know where they can report burnout. So if you notice that if a staff member now tells you that they're getting burnt out, what does your company do in response to that? How do they help them? Currently, not many teams have that. So what you can do is let them know this is who you go to report to, maybe HR person or your supervisor. When you report to them, these are the steps that we'll take. And not just telling them what they can expect, but showing them that, okay, this is what we're going to do. So, because you're already getting burnt out, we're going to give you 1 day off of work. You can take 1 day off. You can take 2 days off. And during this time, you can also speak to a therapist or an in-house counselor. Okay, do you want us to help you address how to adjust your workload or your lifestyle? What are the things going on in your work environment that's causing you to get burnt out? Are you understimulated? Are you overstimulated? Or are you just completely worn out? So if you're able to know what exactly is wrong with the staff, what type of burnout they're experiencing, then you know how to help them. I always encourage companies to have an in-house therapist. Hire me. I always encourage them to have an in-house therapist because it's easier to deal with this. When your staff is getting burnt out and you notice it, you can just refer them to a counselor or a therapist who can then sit with them, assess what type of burnout they're experiencing and what is the best step for them to get care. And if it requires them taking a couple of days off work, the therapist can liaise with their department head to now figure out what is the structure we can put so this person can get 2 days off of work to rest and then come back. And then work with the client and know, okay, when you're resting, before you come back to work, let's do some adjustment in terms of your workload, setting boundaries, even your lifestyle as well. How do we help you balance your personal life with your professional life? And how do we help you manage, like with Nengi, some of your anxious thoughts so that you are not overwhelmed during the times when you're supposed to rest? So let there be a clear path for your staff to know how they can deal with burnout. Recognize the symptoms, educate them about it regularly in your newsletters, that you send out to your staff. Let them know that it is possible to get burnout. This is what the symptoms are, and these are the ways that you can take care of yourself. So that's it. That's what I have.
Thank you, girl. Thank you so much for this. This has been incredible. Do we have any? Do you have any questions on YouTube? Okay, so there's a question. Any thoughts on career sabbaticals or career gaps? And then someone has said and I cannot pronounce his name. Mr. Peter has said, this is a wonderful session, Amanda. Most of the time, people experience burnout at work due to the manner their superiors speak to them. A bad word can demoralize staff for the whole day and affect the person's input. I mean, you've spoken about this already, but the person says, in such a case, how do I manage it and put in the work effectively?
Okay, so let me talk to the first one, which is thoughts on career sabbaticals and career gap years. Yes, it is okay to do that. It's okay to take 6 months of work, 9 months of work, 1 year off of working, and then come back into the workforce. Don't take too long, that it would be difficult for you to be employed again. But then don't take too short that then when you come back, you don't feel good about yourself. What I always encourage my staff to do, my clients to do that want to take career gap years is that you plan for it. So if you know you want to take gap year, say January or February, you need to start looking at how much are you earning currently? How much do you save? How much do you spend in a month for you to cope every day? Is your rent taken care of? So pay your rent for a year, so you have a place to live during that time when you're not going to be earning. Make sure that your savings can take you for at least 9 months or 12 months, depending when you start looking for a job. Make sure your savings are good. If you have a passive source of income, that would be great. And then plan out the period of time, like what do you want to spend the break doing? If you're going to take 6 months, what do you want to spend those 6 months doing? Of course, there is that room for it to change or for you to do other things, but just make sure you have an idea of what the plan is. So maybe for the first 2 months, you're not going to do anything. And then the remaining 4 months, you're going to now then start actively looking for another job, maybe in a different industry or in the same industry that you're in. So yeah, a career sabbatical, the career gap year, it is perfectly fine. It is okay to do that, but you just have to plan for it. You can't just bust. I'm going to leave, that's it, I'm out. No, because you'll be broke by the end of January. January is tough. You'll be broke and everyone's going to be like, I'm not the one that told you to quit. It's not me that told you to quit. So plan for it. Make sure you have a financial plan that can sustain you. And during that time, you're going to have to obviously cut back. So if you know you used to spend like 150 per month, you need to start looking at how you can be spending maybe 100 or maybe 120 or maybe even 80,000 per month. So you're not running out of cash quicker. And that when you're looking for a job, you're not making a choice for just because I want to make money back and survive. You're actually going for something that you actually want. So yeah, yes to career gap and yes to career sabbatical. And then the second question, which is your boss that puts you down. One thing I'd say is like, I know that the Nigerian work culture, you don't speak to your boss like that. But one thing I'll tell you is that speak up for yourself. On a day when things are a lot calmer, where your boss is not that stressed out, you can always just go into their office and just say to them, thank you for the feedback that you gave earlier. I appreciate it, but I'd really sincerely appreciate it if you do not speak to me that way in the future. If you want to talk to me about something, there is a way you can address it with me. You can let me know by saying blah, 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 but please don't raise your voice at me, don't insult me, and don't bring me down, because I really want to do a good job and I'm very open to criticism and I'm open to correction, but I would not take something that is destructive. It takes a lot of balls to do that, but do it. If you can do it, if you know that speaking up for yourself is not going to cause you a lot of risk, because I know that for some people, they speak up, their boss might stone them with a book or might tell them to get out of their office and fire them on the spot. But if you know that you have a little bit of leeway, I know that there are some staff members that have more privileges than others do. If you are in that position, recognize your privilege and speak up for yourself. But if you're in a place where you can't speak up for yourself, after you've heard something that demeaning and damaging to your being, confide in your colleague at the office or speak to your friend on the phone or talk to your therapist about it so they can help you to learn how to manage those feelings. And you also do the work of reassuring yourself, because if you're consistently hearing negative things about yourself, it's only a matter of time before that person's voice becomes your own voice. So don't internalize what that person is saying. Take the correction, but then leave the negative insults away and push it aside. If it continues and it's really bad, I strongly advise you to start planning your exit strategy from that company, because nobody needs to be insulted just because they are trying to get corrected. Yeah. Any more questions?
Someone just asked, can we get a recording of this? They absolutely can. It's on YouTube, and we'll leave a link there's a link in the chat. So yeah, I think we have come.
I think I have one last question. Someone
Yes.
says, I've been burnt out before where I felt I didn't want to return the job, so leave won't help. Is quitting the job a good idea? Sometimes it is. And like I always say, before you make these decisions to create your source of income, have a financial plan. Just know how you are going to get your daily bread. Don't just quit immediately. The moment you recognize that this is just not working out for me, then start to think of how am I going to get out and how am I going to survive when I get out and what am I going to do when I leave. So have a plan to get out. So leaving is not bad because your job should not cause you so much misery. It should be a place that gives you meaning, a sense of fulfillment and accomplishment, and you can show up at work and be happy. But if you're constantly depressed and being insulted and disrespected at your job, then it's okay to leave. But have a plan. Don't just quit on the spot. Just make sure that you know at least how you're going to eat for the next 3 months and where you're going to live. And then you can dip. Yeah.
Alrighty, I think we have come to the end of today's session. Thank you so much, everyone who has attended, asked questions, participated. Thank you so much, Amanda, for this time. It has been.
Thank you.
I will not be exaggerating if I said it was life-changing. I will not be exaggerating because we go through life and you don't realize the things you gather on the way. And this has just been very insightful. So thank you for your time and for your wisdom, for sharing your knowledge with us. There'll be another session, same time, same place on Friday, and we're talking about depression. Yay! So please follow Oando PLC on Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and all the others. We're going to leave all the things in the chat below. Thank you again. And thank you everyone for joining.
Thank you for joining, guys. I'll see you soon.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye-bye.